whatever we so choose. You can condition it to think of success or failure or whatever you'd like to think of it as, or whatever you'd like to bring up in your mind, because we create the life that we have and our circumstances by what we think with our mind. Now, I know you might think that this is a bunch of pucky puck or something, but let me tell you how powerful it is. Our media today is set up in a way that it causes us to bring to mind what it so chooses. It tells us what to think and when to think it. And if we are not strong in our own minds, we kind of go along with the program. If you think about what's going on right now, look at our economy. Everybody is telling us how terrible our economy is. People whose jobs are not even affected by it at the moment, who haven't missed a paycheck at all, who seem to not be suffering up under the conditions of our current economy, seem like they're still buying into the idea that there's something wrong, which causes panic. Panic causes us to keep our monies in our pocket, and when that happens, then all of us have this mentality of scarcity and the things that we cannot do. We have now conditioned our mind to think along a certain path. So now all of us are having the same condition or the same thinking in our mind about scarcity, lack, and limitation. That means that all of us collectively, as we're thinking about that, give power to it, which causes a stagnation in the flow of wealth throughout our country, which means that somehow everything slows down. Imagine that, a mass consciousness of people buying into the idea that lack and limitation is going to be the rule of the land for a certain period of time. Now, I, despite what I'm experiencing in my life, have conditioned my mind to think the exact opposite. That in spite of everything that I see around me, I am not going to experience lack and limitation in my life. I won't allow it. And as we start to understand that through the power of our minds, we call forth things, the law of attraction, I think they call it, we call forth the experience that we want. So what are you conditioning your mind to think? What are you giving into? Are you going with what our media says? Are you watching the TV and believing everything that it says? You can't do that. Oh, see, because it causes you to be at the whim of them or at somebody else's control. Imagine if you were one of those people too who got upset just because the weather forecast said that it's going to be rainy out or snowing out or it's going to be dark and cloudy. Do you let that influence you too? At what point do you reach a threshold that says, I won't go any lower or any darker in my thoughts? We may see things going on all around us, but if we understand that there is a power of mind that we can use for our own good, then you'll stop getting caught up in all that stuff. So now let's see, how do we do that? How do we control our mind and what we think? You know, this is a question that I ask myself sometimes. And it's interesting because every morning when I wake up, I have to give a certain amount of time to reprogramming my thoughts, because every once in a while they get a little out of alignment. And when they're out of alignment, then I need to make sure that I bring them back into alignment to make sure I'm on point with what I'd like to think. So I go into my closet, I get quiet, and I tell my mind, I tell myself over and over again what I'd like to think. It's a process of conditioning. Some people might call it brainwashing, but all of us are brainwashed to some capacity at some point in time in our life. Brainwashing is not always bad. So if you decide how you want to see the world, then everything that comes into your experiences responds to how you decide you want to see it. So if I think that my day is going to be good and that everything that happens is going to be for the good, guess what? No matter what happens, I don't care if there's buildings falling down around me. I'll sit there and say, what do you know? That's a good thing. And in my mind will say compensating, and then it'll start to correct the information that I've just received to fall into alignment with what I wanted to think. You have that power. Oh my gosh, I'm so sad if you don't know that. So right now, think about how you want to see life. Think about how you'd like your life. And then start to program yourself. Start to program your mind to think that way. Now, here's the other thing. Start to look in the mirror and say, I'm powerful. Start to look in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful, or I love myself. Whatever it is you so desire to program your mind to think, start doing that now. Start off a few times a day, increase it to 50 times a day, increase it to 100 times a day, and keep repeating it over and over to yourself. I am a success. I am a success. Or if you'd like to be a speaker, or a painter, or a director, start to say it over and over again. And guess what? The world will come to meet you where you are. It will start to change things around you. And that way you'll have the life that you desire to lead. The mind is so powerful. It can either cause you to, we can die through our thinking. Or it can heal you through your thinking. You get to choose. It's your power. It's there. It's for you to use. And as soon as you know that and start to do something about it, then you'll really experience the life that you like to lead. You know what? Don't take my word for it. Prove me wrong. Do it. Just do it. 100 times a day, 50 times a day. If your life doesn't change, I'll give you your money back. And since you didn't pay anything for it, what do you got to lose? Anyway, just wanted to come and tell you that. See ya.